All right, we're gonna sing We Are the Champions!
ESPN 1080 The Team presents ESPN1080.com Insider Show with Eric Lopez, your UCF and Magic Insider, alongside Andrew Melnick, your Magic and NBA Insider. And no Jason Collette this week. He's a father, so therefore on Father's Day he gets to take the week off. He's somewhere in Tampa getting ready for Rays Marlins baseball. But Andrew, it'd just be you and I. Of course, happy Father's Day, even though you're not a father.
No, I'm not, but happy Father's Day to my dad,
there you go.
To Jason, to all the other fathers out there.
Indeed. Every happy Father's Day. We got our producer, Brian Winnegar. You want to say happy Father's Day to your father?
Happy Father's Day, Dad. I know he's listening. I just talked to him, so.
There you go.
Happy Father's Day.
Appreciate him tuning in. Coming up on the show, we got a lot to get to. We got our exclusive interview with Mikie Mahtook, first-round draft pick of the Tampa Bay Rays. We will tell you why Rory McIlroy winning the U.S. Open is not necessarily the best thing for the PGA Tour. We'll hit up on that. That and much more, as well as the NBA drafts is this Thursday. Andrew's fired up. We'll break that down for you. But in case you just tuned into the opening segment, we have a new NBA World Champions, ladies and gentlemen. In case you haven't heard, the Dallas Mavericks are your 2011 NBA champions.
We're going to sing We Are the Champions! Are we ready? Let's go. How's it go? 1, 2, 3. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of the world.
Wow.
Thank you.
Andrew, how quality was that music, huh? How about that singing there?
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it an 11.
Exactly. But hey, when you're the champs, you get to sing however you want. Well, let's talk about it first. Let's wrap up the NBA Finals. Of course, the Dallas Mavericks defeat the Miami Heat in 6 games. They wrapped it up last Sunday in Miami. Really a convincing 10-point win in Game 6. Your thoughts finally on the final words on the NBA Finals 2011 edition?
Well, it was just impressive from Dallas on both sides of the ball. Kind of the opposite for Miami. And we get into this talk now about blowing it up with the Heat, which is just absolutely ridiculous. We'll go into that in a couple minutes here. But I don't know, maybe, Eric, you're from Miami, so maybe you're a little down about it. But I don't know how you couldn't feel good for guys like Dirk, guys like Jason Kidd, Shawn Marion, these guys who have played so long and been so good for so long, and they finally get what they've deserved for a while.
Well, Dirk, obviously, tremendous player. I do get a laugh, though. I mean, we, the media, we tend to blow everything up. If you lose, you're a bum. If you win, you're the greatest. A championship ring, all of a sudden he's a better player because he's got a championship ring. All of a sudden, because he won 4 more games in June, he's a different player than he was like a year ago. Like, Caron Butler's getting a championship ring. How does that do for his legacy? How many minutes he played in this finals?
Yeah, I mean, he went out mid-season, a little earlier than that. Yeah, it's a little ridiculous to make those statements. I don't think it makes him necessarily a better player, although he did play very well late in games on the big stage. He's always been a great player.
Yeah, he's always played great, though, on the big stage. I know people focus on the finals in 2006, second half of that series. He didn't play well in the first round against Golden State, but he's had great playoffs before. He had great series against San Antonio last year when they lost in the first round. Sometimes there's just things around you that you can't control. I think he was a top 30 player of all time before this series started. I'm not going to change my opinion. I don't think he's the best player in the world like Rick Carlisle says. I understand why he's saying it. I don't think he's Larry Bird, but I think he is the best foreign player in NBA history, and I think he's a top 30 player of all time.
Well, I think what this did for him is since he won that MVP, and you mentioned when they lost to the Warriors in the first round, he became kind of underrated. And I think this maybe puts him back on that level. No, he's not the best player in the NBA, but I think it puts him back in that top 5, top 10 level, probably top 5 that he deserves to be in.
No, absolutely. You mentioned Jason Kidd. What does this do for him? Obviously, he's been one of the great point guards. Mike Tuck actually wrote a blog this past week. You can check it out on ESPN1080.com about best point guards of all time. He has him ranked number 5 all time. He has Magic number 1, Oscar Robertson number 2, John Stockton 3, Isaiah Thomas 4. What does this do for Kidd? Where do you put him as far as all-time point guards? I mean, I still think he could play 2 or 3 more years. Is he what he was maybe 5-6 years ago? No. But I think he's obviously proven. He's solid. He still runs the offense. Great defender, which I think he did a nice job. Everybody wants to throw LeBron under the bus, but you got to give credit to the guys guarding him, and Jason Kidd was one of them. He did a great job. Still a great defender. Jason Kidd, people forget, is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and I think Mike's pretty accurate here. I mean, a couple things that are funny about Jason Kidd, remember, he was always questioned for his shooting. Couldn't knock down the three. He's adapted his game as he's gotten older, maybe can't get to the basket, can't make as good of plays. He's adapted his game, become a much better shooter. And the most surprising stat I've heard recently is we know Ray Allen broke Reggie Miller's all-time three-point record this year, most threes in the career. Jason Kidd is third on that list.
So, you would not think of that, right? I mean, I did not even think. You're right.
And we know about the triple doubles, the way he distributes, the way he could rebound, his really good size for a point guard. Yeah, undoubtedly a first ballot Hall of Famer. Look at some of those Nets teams that he got into the finals.
2 NBA finals in 02 and 03. Yep.
Watered down Eastern Conference back then, you true. But, you had a tough series with the Spurs one year, beat one of those Pistons teams. That was a very, very good team. Or not a very good team, excuse me, and he made them a very good team.
Other notables for Dallas, Rick Carlisle. Skyrocketed his stock. I always thought he was a very good coach. Got a raw deal in Detroit and Indiana, led him into conference finals, got let go, and I think he gets a last laugh, and I think right now he's the best coach in the league.
With Phil Jackson retiring, he's got to be up there. You put Doc Rivers up there as well, but Rick Carlisle's got to be up there. He did a fantastic job. And I think you're right. That guy got such a raw deal in Dallas just because they knew they could go out and get Larry Brown, once they fired him. And I think that's another guy you just got to be happy for because you're right. He's been a very good coach. Took the Pacers to the conference finals, took Detroit there. Really, it wasn't really fair either time he got fired. I know it was last year with the Pacers. They were 10, 11, 12 games under 500, but that team had gone so downhill in talent by that point, with Reggie Miller and all these guys retiring. They were an old team at the time he took over.
Shawn Marion came out of the Matrix, reloaded, refreshed, had a very nice series. What does this series do? I think Shawn Marion played at an all-star level this series. I think that's one of the reasons why Dallas won this series. I know a lot of people are saying, did Dallas win this series or did Miami lose this series? I think you got to give credit to Dallas. Shawn Marion stepped up. J.J. Barea, the change to go to the starting lineup. J.J. Barea, I believe, is a free agent. He's going to have some demand all of a sudden.
His stock flew through
Tyson
the roof.
Chandler, a tremendous pickup before the year. He's a free agent. What's the future for those three? Talk about those three guys.
Well, Dallas is going to try and keep him. I think as well as Barea played with the guards they have still, even though they're aging, Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, they're going to have to make Chandler their priority. He made such a difference for them. They're going to have to make him their main priority. We don't know what they're going to do with Caron Butler. He didn't play all series. We forgot about him. He's a very good player. This is the team that drafted. I know you're probably not a big Dominique Jones fan, being a UCF
he's
draft.
a USF Bull, right?
That's the enemy. But a nice player, pretty nice looking.
Nice kid. I've talked to him.
Good guy, nice prospect. We didn't see him this year, really, but he's a guy who could maybe step in, be a little bit of a replacement for Barea. So I think you got to make Chandler your priority.
Mark Cuban, obviously, everybody. I know you and Minnie were waiting to see him get the trophy from David Stern. It did not happen.
No.
Tell the audience what happened.
Disappointing, but a classy move on Mark Cuban's part to give the trophy. Let the original owner and founder of the Dallas Mavericks. He was out there looking Texas as ever with his cowboy hat on.
Do you think he did that on purpose? Or do you think he wanted to avoid that little situation with Stern? Or do you think he just sincerely wanted to, have him hoist a trophy?
I think it was sincere because I couldn't see him not wanting to, I wouldn't say make a fool out of David Stern, but,
right.
Have that smug look on his face as he took the trophy. So I think he was sincere.
Now, we look forward to next season for Dallas, and you wrote and you put this on your blog on ESPN1080.com. You can check it out. The odds for next year, the team's favorites to win the NBA title. Dallas is not the favorite. Can they repeat? Why or why not?
Well, if there's going to be a lockout and we lose time, it could help them in one way. If there's a shortened season like we had, during the last lockout 12 years ago, and they play 50 games, that could be good for an older team. If there's not, and maybe we don't have a season, which I think they'll play games, but if they don't have a season, then they're in some trouble, obviously, because everyone's going to be another year older. I mean, it depends. They got to bring Tyson Chandler back. If they don't keep J.J. Barea, they got to get another guard. Maybe their decision is to keep Caron Butler instead, which people forget he's a very, very good player that they didn't even have. The chances to repeat, though, it's going to be tough. I mean, I think Miami's going to get a little bit better with those guys playing together. The Lakers are going to do something. I mean, we hear the rumors here. They're going to do something. They're going to make a move to get better. If Chicago gets a 2, they're going to look a whole lot better. And the Thunder are going to be another year older.
Of course, that's Andrew Melnick, your NBA Magic Insider. I'm Eric Lopez, your UCF and Magic Insider. Let's talk about the Heat. They lose the series. The sky is falling. Apparently, LeBron James, news to us, can't play a lick of basketball. If you hear most of the criticism, he's a bum, right? I mean, he can't show up in the fourth quarters. Your thoughts? I mean, he has gotten crushed like I haven't seen an athlete get crushed in a long time. Now, granted, he did not play a very good series.
No, not at all.
If he plays like himself, do the Heat win this series?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. He's the best player in the NBA. If he plays up to his potential, yeah, they win the series. I mean, it's kind of funny what happened with him because he was so quiet during the fourth quarter. That's been a little bit of a rap on him throughout his career in the playoffs, which I don't think was fair. I've watched him, his 24 straight points against Detroit, his 45 points in a loss in Game 7 against Paul Pierce and the Boston Celtics when the Celtics won the title a couple of years ago. So how well he played against the Magic when the Magic beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think people...
He averaged like 35 points a game in that series.
Like 8 and 8 as well. Right. I think people forget about that because he didn't play well in the last game, but that was kind of... That all added
3
up.
weeks ago, he destroyed Derrick Rose in the Eastern Conference Finals. Why are we... the media forget doesn't matter. It's all what you did in the last 3 games.
Well, that's the thing that I just don't understand. This guy was so good late in games against Boston. So good in some of those comebacks against Chicago. I don't know what happened. I mean, I could see Dirk outperforming them because they have one go-to guy. It's Dirk. Game's on the line. Dirk's getting the ball. Dirk's going to shoot that fadeaway. That's unguardable when he's on. But with LeBron, I think he was so good. And the funny part is as well as Dallas played, they played, good on defense. Shawn Marion was great on defense, like you said, not against LeBron, against Kevin Durant too, and LeBron James. But he was so good in those fourth quarters, it's just, I'm not sure what happened.
I would point out, Kobe Bryant did not have a good series against Dallas either. I mean, maybe at some point, have we just completely lost the fact that maybe just Dallas just did a good job?
He did, but they did. They did an excellent job. But the funny part is we had the Chicago Bulls first in defense with Luol Deng, excellent perimeter defender. Boston Celtics second in defense with a guy like Paul Pierce that's always played well against LeBron James. Those are better defensive teams than Dallas. Granted, Dallas played well. Give them a lot of credit. But I don't know why LeBron was able to do what he did in the fourth quarter against Boston, against Chicago, and just didn't do it against Dallas.
Moving forward, what does he have to do? What's next for him? I mean, can he recover from this? I mean, I think he can. He's young, but I mean, what's your thoughts here moving forward? What do the Heat and LeBron do this summer and next season?
They got to continue to add role players. I mean, we'll see what happens. They might not have any cap room. Maybe we won't have a mid-level exception anymore, after a new CBA is worked out. We don't know. But I don't know if they have to do that much. It's not like they came in and got swept and blown out. Every game was close. Even the last game was close for a majority of the game till the fourth quarter when Dallas kind of just took over. Every game was close. They're not far away at all. Maybe add a little bit better of a point guard. Although Mario Chalmers started playing better late in the year. Maybe try and get a little bit younger if you can. Maybe one of these second-round picks from this past draft can give you something. They're not far away. I mean, the people who are yelling, blow it up, trade one of them, trade two of them, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I love how, Wade and LeBron just can't play together. They just got to the finals, right?
And almost won. I mean, let's not act like this wasn't Dallas what they did to the Lakers. Yeah. This isn't, a series like that. This was a close series.
It was. That's Andrew Melnick, your Magic and NBA Insider. I'm Eric Lopez. Coming up next, later on the show, we'll have an exclusive interview with Mikie Mahtook, first-round pick of the Rays. Why Roy McIlroy winning the U.S. Open is not good for the PGA Tour. But coming up next, we'll talk about the NBA draft. And, Dwight Howard has spoken. He wants to be a Magic. But there's a but. We'll tell you about it next. You're listening to the ESPN1080.com Insider Show here on ESPN 1080, The Team.
Mark Daniels here. Ever wonder why Jerry Green is just so weird?
Is that pink? I'm a little colorblind, so I'm truly not sure. My interpretation of color isn't the same as other people's, that's all.
There's our world, then there's the world of Jerry Green.
I fully admit that I'm from Pluto. I'm from a different planet. My planet's not even called a planet anymore. It's so far out there.
The Beat of Sports, weekdays at 9 to 11 on ESPN 1080 The Team.
How is healthcare reform going to affect you? Nobody knows for sure, and you don't have time to wait. You and your family, you need health insurance, and you need it now. What happens if you get sick? You can't afford that risk. Now you can call for a free quote for low-cost, high-quality health insurance from a name you know and trust. This exclusive health insurance quote for you and your family is free, and the service is outstanding. And they can guarantee your rate will stay the same for 3 years. Yes, your health insurance premium can stay the same for 3 years. Call right now. 800-719-8134. 800-719-8134. 800-719-8134. Call now for a free health insurance quote. 800-719-8134. 800-719-8134. 800-719-8134. Insurance underwritten by Freedom Life Insurance Company of America and National Foundation Life Insurance Company. Not available in all states.
It's the Leaderboard, Mondays 6 to 8 on ESPN 1080 WHOO. This is where the pros come to talk.
Hi, this is Boo Weekly.
Hi, this is Jim Furyk.
Hi, this is Rocco Mediate.
Hi, this is Trevor Immelman.
Hi, this is Zach Johnson.
Hi, this is Woody Austin.
Where the pros come to talk about their game. Live from Celebration Town Tavern.
Hi, this is Corey Paven, the 2010 Ryder Cup captain. Listen to the Leaderboard, Monday evenings, 6 to 8 p.m., right here on ESPN.
Presented by Carl Black Chevrolet Buick GMC.
Have you heard? Walgreens has generics for less than $1 a week. That's less than $1 a week for a 90-day supply on over 400 generic medications when you sign up for Walgreens Prescription Savings Club. Plus, save on 5,000 other brand name and generic medications. See how much you could save and get $50 in coupons free just for asking about the club.
Program is not insurance. Membership fee required. Membership may be canceled within 30 days of issue date. See store for complete terms and conditions.
Tuesday, David Faraday goes unfiltered and interviews the biggest names in movies, sports, and entertainment. Don Cheadle.
Do you get royalties from those Cheetos, that leave your fingers orange?
Those are Cheetos. It's a little different.
Tom Watson.
When the chips are down, I enjoy hitting shots. That really means something.
Charles Barkley.
Every time I get paid, I like, these people are suckers.
Faraday, more than just an interview show. Premieres Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on Golf Channel.
A bright future starts with a healthy lifestyle.
Pinocchio, I'm a real boy!
And the Food Pyramid will help you find the right balance of everything you and your child need. To learn more, visit mypyramid.gov. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
No, it's not really pressure for me. Honestly, I'm not replacing LeBron James. I'm Kyrie Irving. I went to Duke University. I wear a size 12 and a half. I'm 6'3" with shoes on. So I'm not really trying to be the next LeBron James. I'm just trying to go to a team and contribute as best I can.
Welcome back here to ESPN 1080 The Team, your ESPN1080.com insider show. I'm Eric Lopez, your UCF and Magic insider, alongside Andrew Melnick, your Magic NBA insider. No Jason Collette this week. He's got the week off. Having joined Father's Day. That was, you just heard, Kyrie Irving, who could be your #1 draft pick on Thursday. More of that in a moment. But first, Andrew's got some developing news regarding Dwight Howard. Andrew?
Yeah, kind of funny. Dwight Howard doing his world tour with Adidas, going all over Europe right now. And some news out of Spain is that he thinks, maybe Gilbert Arenas not playing as well wasn't his fault. He has, quotes today saying that he doesn't think Van Gundy used him the right way, and that Arenas promised him he's going to get stronger physically and mentally, and that he didn't get to opportunity to play the style of basketball that he's used to playing. And all those things are true. He didn't get to play the style that he's used to playing, but I think the reason for that is because he can't.
You're saying he can?
He can't. I mean, you look at his knees. He doesn't have the explosiveness.
Well, let's because Dwight's had a lot to say this week. Obviously, now every word that he says will be magnified. It'll be broken down. What does it mean? He said earlier this week he wants to stay in Orlando. However, he wants to. That's his first option. But he wants a team that can compete for a championship, which who doesn't? And he said something interesting. He said something to the extent of he wants players that play 48 minutes, play hard, which was kind of interesting, almost like a dig on his current teammates. Your thoughts on what is in Dwight's head right now? Do you think he knows what he wants to do right now?
No, I don't. I think he does want to stay. I think he's genuine. But yeah, he wants to win a championship. That's what he wants to do. And for him not signing an extension, number one, this is something we kind of already knew because, well, he hasn't signed an extension up to this point. And I don't think I would do it if I were him either, even if I was 100% planning to stay, because you lose all your leverage. You want to be involved in the front office. He has another quote from this same story. I should be involved, Howard said. For 7 years, I've done everything I could for us to win a championship. I think I deserve an opportunity to help make decisions as far as the future. And he absolutely does deserve that because he's been so good. And he uses all his leverage if he signs an extension now.
Yeah, that would be an interesting story. Obviously, he's got leverage. There was rumors of a trade this week. The Warriors offered a match.
I think the offer was real.
Yeah.
You heard the offer. Can you tell the people
what was it?
It
was Monte Ellis. Help me out. It was Monte Ellis. I got to look it up here, but it was pretty. I laughed at it.
Who from Baylor that got picked in the lottery last year. I mean, just a ridiculous lowball offer. I've made my thoughts on Monte Ellis pretty vocal. Takes a lot of shots. Doesn't make all that many. And just an absolutely terrible deal, but I guess this is going to start the domino effect where we see offers, where we hear rumor after rumor. That Andrew Bynum rumor is never going to go away unless Dwight signs an extension or Bynum's dealt somewhere else. We're never going to see that rumor ever go away because if it's a healthy Bynum and Dwight wants to leave, it makes sense from some perspective. So we're never going to see that one leave. And, yeah, this is all we're going to hear for the next year. Or however long it is till he actually becomes a free agent. Technically, he's not a free agent after this year, but he has an early termination option, so he will be.
Go back to that Gilbert Arenas comments he made. Is that a comment of how he's pro Gilbert Arenas? Does he like Gilbert Arenas, or is that a more of a shot at Stan Van Gundy that he's not on the same page with Stan Van Gundy? What is that?
Well, that's been the rumor. He went on to say that he thought Stan did a good job. He prepared them well. And he said he actually liked what Van Gundy did this year. But we've heard the rumors. We've even heard Dwight Howard vocally say he thinks Stan is too negative. And, I think Stan's a fantastic coach. I know you agree with me there, Eric. Got a raw deal in Miami. Hoping he doesn't get another raw deal here. But I think it's more pro-Gilbert. And I think what people don't realize when they see him, making ridiculous statements on Twitter, getting in all kind of trouble with the guns, and then, calling himself John Wayne, making finger guns in the huddle the next day. People think he's got a rap as a bad guy. Gilbert's one of the nicest pro athletes I've met in sports. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, he's very nice. I think he's naive. He's kind of like, to some extent, like Ron Artest. He doesn't understand sometimes what he says or does, what it means, or what harm it does. I would say that's kind of his problem.
Yeah, I think you're right a little bit there. No one's quite on that Ron Artest level, but I think you're going the right way with that. I think you're right there. He is, but the problem is with what Dwight said, like I was saying earlier, the guy just doesn't have it. It's not his fault. I don't think it's for lack of trying, although I think he could have worked harder the last couple seasons, but I don't think it's that he's not giving proper effort on the court. I think he just has physical limitations with that knee.
We'll move on to the draft here in a moment, but last, if you're the Magic, what can they do to make him happy, though? He says he will stay as long as he can, unless, he will leave if they don't win a championship or have a team that can compete for a championship. I mean, that's a very obvious statement. What does that mean? What do the Magic, he's calling out the Magic front office, obviously, but what can they literally do to make him happy to stay?
It's tough. I mean, they got off to a bad start this year. When you look back at last year, it was obviously a disappointing ending. I'm talking about the prior year, the loss to Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was a disappointing ending because they made the finals the year before. But that was a fantastic team. I mean, they won 59 games, great defensive team. And, everyone bashed on Vince Carter, and rightfully so somewhat. And we saw him this year. He's definitely took another step back. But they tried to blow things up. They tried to make a big move. And it didn't work, and now, with them saddled with Turkoglu's contract, them saddled with Arenas' contract, it's going to be tough for them to really do anything at this point. I mean, if we get that amnesty clause that I know all the Magic fans are praying for, they can maybe get out of that Arenas contract, they're still not in a very good cap situation.
It's going to be tough, and one thing they will not get help from is the NBA draft, more than likely. They only have a second-round pick, I believe, 53rd pick, is that
53rd,
right? Yeah. The draft is this Thursday night. Could be the last activity of the NBA before that L word that we're not going to use.
I wouldn't even say could. I think you can get pretty definite with this one.
Definite L word is coming for the NBA, like that other sport that we won't mention that's pretty popular that does not have that L word. The Cleveland Cavaliers are on the clock, obviously. They have the number 1 pick. They won the lottery. Your thoughts, Andrew, on this draft?
It's not as bad as the Rapids getting, but it's certainly not fantastic. It's not great. As for Cleveland, I think Kyrie Irving is at least close to deserving of a top pick. I don't think he's quite John Wall, quite Derrick Rose, but I think he's a very good player. I think it's a nice place for Cleveland to start. We'll see what they do at 4.
Is that a lock that you think it's?
I think it's a lock. That's who I would take.
No other option.
I think it's a lock.
Okay.
Derrick Williams, I think, is a nice player, can do a lot of things, but I think with the way point guards are kind of coming about in the league now, we're kind of seeing a resurrection of the position in a different kind of way. I mean, we've got Chris Paul, a guy who distributes. You got a Darren Williams who plays a similar style. But then the last couple of years, we've seen, your Tyreek Evans, your John Wall, your Derrick Rose, the MVP this year. Yeah. We've seen a new style of point guard, and I think Kyrie Irving can be that guy. Yes, there's questions, but for me, I think had we seen Kyrie Irving play more than 11 games, play an entire season, we see him play in the ACC and things like that, I don't think there'd be any questions.
Let's hear from Kyrie himself. Who does he compare himself to? What kind of style does he compare himself to? It's a pretty couple big names.
I think I'm a mix of Chris Paul and Chauncey Billups. Just the way it's a balance in between both of them. Just the way they command the floor. Honestly, Chris Paul can get up and down the floor, and Chauncey Billups is a half-court setup guy.
There you have it. Chauncey Billups, Chris Paul. A little mixture there. You like that?
Yeah. So
you think he's a legitimate all-star in the NBA level?
The only way I see it not being a legitimate all-star is because of what I said. There's so many point guards. I mean, if you look in the Eastern Conference, Derrick Rose is going to be there forever. I think pretty soon we're going to see John Wall there all the time. Darren Williams is in the East. Chris Paul could become an East. So I think that could be a problem with him because none of those guys are particularly old. Derrick Rose extremely young, John Wall extremely young, rookie last year. But I think he can be an excellent player. I mean, he's a good scorer. He can distribute. If you watched early on in the season before his injury, was probably Duke's best player, and you're talking about a team that returned almost everybody from the team that won the national championship.
Couple other names. Let's mention a couple other names you like. A couple other players. I'll throw you a couple of quick names. Your quick thoughts. Brandon Knight, point guard at Kentucky. I saw him in the NCAA tournament. Your thoughts on him?
Raw, but when you've looked at these point guards that have played for John Calipari the last few years, and with how well he started playing in that tournament, why not? I mean, I think he could be an excellent player. I got him slated to be Darren Williams' replacement in Utah.
Derrick Williams, you think he's legit? I think he might be the best player in this draft, potentially. Has the most potential, the most upside. Do you agree with that?
With his size and his skill set is probably close to or bigger than anyone else is in the draft. Yeah, I like that. I like him there. I don't know if I like him at Minnesota. I mean, you did some good things with your forward combination of Michael Beasley and Kevin Love. I'd like to see Minnesota move this pick, and honestly, I'd like to see Cleveland come up and get it. Like we heard rumors about that earlier. I'd like to see Cleveland wind up with both these guys. Minnesota maybe, acquire a decent player or someone like that, and then take your center, take a chance at a big man at 4.
Couple of college, probably the two most popular players from college basketball in this draft, Jimmer Fredette, Kemba Walker. What do you think of those two?
I don't think either one of them are going to be near the player they were in college, obviously. I think with Jimmer Fredette, we hear the J.J. Redick the J.J. Redick, we hear that he's going to be like him. We hear that in the conversation because, deep range, big-time college players. I don't think Jimmer will be quite the defender J.J. is, and I think that's simply a size issue. But I think Jimmer's a better ball handler. I think Jimmer has a future. I think he could be an excellent sixth man running a team off the bench and scoring. And I think maybe similar with Kemba Walker, because I don't think Kemba Walker, he's more of a 2. I mean, this guy is a scorer, and he's just way too small to really play a 2. He could be one of those nice combo guards off the bench, though.
That's Andrew Melnick, your NBA Magic Insider. For more on the NBA draft, Andrew will post his mock draft, I believe, Monday. Will be up, right?
Yeah, possibly later today, tomorrow for sure.
You'll have the mock draft, so look on that at ESPN1080.com. I'm Eric Lopez, your UCF and Magic Insider. When we come back, we'll be joined. We'll have an interview with first-round draft pick from the Tampa Bay Rays, Mikie Mahtook out of LSU will join that. And that's coming up next as you're listening to ESPN 1080 Insiders.com show on ESPN 1080 The Team.
This is where great moments happen.
Art Ditmar throws. Here's a swing and a high fly ball going deep to left. This may do it. Back to the wall goes Berra. It is over the fence. Home run. The Pirates win. Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Ford Field to win the 1960 World Series. The Pittsburgh Pirates, the 1960 World Champions, defeat the New York Yankees. The Pirates 10 and the Yankees 9.
ESPN 1080, the team.
Attention golfers, Shingle Creek Golf Club and Rose and Shingle Creek announces an exclusive offer to Orlando residents. It's our Drivers Club program. Members enjoy the guaranteed lowest golf rates and discounts on merchandise and food and beverage with your annual membership fee of $79.95. Our Drivers Club members will enjoy a luxury 4-diamond hotel atmosphere while playing one of America's best new courses as voted by Golf Week magazine. To join our Drivers Club, call 866-996-7519 or visit shinglecreekgolf.com. Hey, New York Yankee fans, now you can buy Yankee collectibles on the radio store. Go to ESPN1080.com. All Yankee memorabilia heavily discounted on the store. Go there today. Limited time offer.
Medical mistakes claim tens of thousands of lives every year. The healthcare community is working on it, but you can help. When you communicate with your doctor, when you ask more questions, you reduce your risk of suffering a medical mistake. Doctors can't answer if you don't ask. Help reduce your risk. Questions are the answer. Learn the 10 questions you must ask. Visit www.ahrq.gov. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, and the Ad Council.
This is a public announcement for senior homeowners age 62 or older. Due to the current global economic situation, the President and Congress passed improved legislation to assist senior homeowners age 62 or older. Now it's much easier to have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and help you get equity out of your home to live on. You can use the money to help you live a better life without worrying about a mortgage payment to make. To qualify, you must be a homeowner in the U.S. age 62 or older with approximately 50% equity or more in your home. You may qualify to get up to $400,000 in equity out of your home to live on with no mortgage payment. To get more information on the new HUD benefits for senior homeowners, call right now 800-981-9347, 800-981-9347. That's 800-981-9347.
Head & Shoulders, when used regularly, gives you awesome, visibly flake-free hair you don't have to think about. So what goes on in the head of a Head & Shoulders man?
When did it become okay for athletes to smack each other's butts? Brain surgeons probably can't do that. It's just not tolerated. Lawyers, certainly not. Maybe a few of them. I don't know. Then again, suits and scrubs don't really entice the hand like spandex pants, do they?
When you don't have to think about your hair, your mind is free to wander. Head & Shoulders. Respect the scalp, get the hair. ESPN 1080, the team.
I'm now joined by the first-round draft pick of the Tampa Bay Rays, Mikie Mahtook. Mikie, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Give me your thoughts, obviously, on that draft day there. You're looking at the board, and then he gets selected in the first round by Tampa Bay. What went through your mind?
Well, it's the draft's a long process. So it's it was a bunch of anxiety, a bunch of unknown. We really didn't know what was going to happen, but it was me and my family, and we were sitting down watching the draft. And when my name got called, it was kind of like a sigh of relief and excitement all mixed in one. And it was a special time for me and my family.
What were people telling you leading up to the draft? I mean, what were some of the talk? I mean, were you expecting to go earlier? I mean, what was the talk going into the draft?
Well, you don't really expect. The more expectations you have, the more disappointment you end up having. So I didn't really go in there with any expectations. I was told anywhere from 9 to into the first round. So. It's pretty much, I can go anywhere in that span, so I was just kind of expecting, really not expecting anything, just kind of going with the flow, and anytime your name gets called in the first round, it's a special time for you, and for me, that's no different. So I was excited to see the Rays call me.
How quickly did you hear from the Rays after you were selected?
Well, they called me probably. I saw my name on the screen first, and then almost immediately after that, they called me and congratulated me, and just told me that they would be in touch, and they're excited to have me.
Who did you hear from on the Rays organization? Who called you? Andrew Freeman call you? I mean, who called?
Well, no, it was a local scout. It was the guy that talked to me, Ricky Drexler, had talked to me, throughout the process. So he called me and congratulated me, and then the next couple of days, I ended up talking to the other part of the organization, and they wished me congratulations also.
Of course, this is not the first time you've gone through this process of the draft. When you came out of high school, you were drafted in the 39th round by the Marlins. Take me through that time when you were selected by the Marlins. You decided to pass on that. You went to LSU. Clearly, it was the right decision. You went up and win a national title, and you end up in the first round. But take me through that process at that time when you were selected in the 39th round of why you passed on that to go to LSU.
Well, out of high school, I was kind of, I really had no idea how the draft worked, and I really didn't know what to expect. And so, I was kind of a late bloomer, and I didn't go to any showcases or any, East Coast showcase or anything like that. So, I was kind of under the radar, I guess you would say. And at the end of the year, I started getting some recognition, and I was told I was supposed to go top 10 rounds, and then that didn't happen. I was actually playing a baseball at a tournament. I was actually playing a baseball game during the draft, and things didn't work out the way they had told me they were going to work out. Teams had told me, not necessarily the Marlins, but so it kind of fell to the 39th round, and I really wasn't ready emotionally or mentally or physically really to go out of high school. And I needed to go to college, and once I slipped to the 39th round and kind of realized that I wasn't going to get the money that was worth me leaving college, I felt more comfortable going to school.
Were other teams contacted you? I mean, did you? Was there any inklings like maybe other teams were interested? I mean, did you get any read as far as what teams do you say, well, I might go here? Was that one of those things, or you just watch the draft and say, you know what, whatever happens, happens?
It was kind of whatever happens, happens. You really don't know what's going to happen with, teams can say all they want, but in reality, you don't really know. I mean, they talk about so many different things behind closed doors, so you really have no idea what they're thinking, or maybe that some guys on the board they didn't expect to be on the board. So, I didn't really have an inkling on where I was going to go. I was just kind of, hoping I got drafted in the first round, and whatever team drafted me, I was going to be excited to go play for them.
We're speaking with first-round draft pick Mikie Mahtook of the Tampa Bay Rays. And, of course, for more now, that was Mikie Mahtook. For more of that interview, go to ESPN1080.com. And as of Monday, we'll have the entire interview with Mikie Mahtook. We hope you enjoyed that. We interviewed him earlier this week, me and Brian Winiger, in the studio there, Andrew. And nice kid, first-round pick for the Rays. Certainly got a lot of upside. The Rays have a lot of high expectations, and they're certainly confident that he will hit higher than 220 that their current center fielder does.
Yeah, I think so.
Of course, this is Eric Lopez, UCF and Magic Insider, alongside Andrew Melnick, your Magic and NBA Insider. No Jason Collette this week. That's he's enjoying Father's Day. That's why we had a first-round draft pick replace him for the Rays segment we usually do. So, that's not a bad replacement. First-round pick.
That's pretty high praise for Jason, too.
This is, of course, yes, it's correct. It's a high praise. That's your 1080insiders.com show. Of course, reminder, you can listen to the Mahtook story. We'll be up Monday. We'll have an interview with Mikie Mahtook with the rest of it on the website. We also have up there Andrew Melnick has his odds. Who are the favorites for the NBA Finals? If you go right now to the website, you'll have that on. He will also have by tomorrow his mock draft.
Yeah, that'll be there.
Everybody loves mock drafts.
They do. And everyone loves odds, too. Everyone loves seeing
odds
favorite.
And mock drafts. You don't get any better. Mike Tuck also has blogs throughout the week. We write about earlier his top point guards of all time. You can check that out. As well as we also have a Jessica Mendoza interview up on the 1080 website. So we expand the globe, Andrew. We expand the globe on the website.
Yeah, we do. Probably a little more NBA centered for the most part, but we do have a pro basketball team here.
That's kind of part of the process there, yes. An NBA team to help, say the least. All right, couple quick thoughts here before we go to break. We mentioned earlier the Dwight Howard story, of course, in case people are just tuning in. Why don't you repeat the top story today, breaking today about him talking about Gilbert Arenas?
Yeah, over in Spain, Dwight thinks that Stan Van Gundy and the coaching staff did not use Gilbert the right way. Thought he should have been a little more free to play his style. Dwight, of course, tried to save himself by going on saying that Van Gundy did a great job and still last season. And I think the most important thing might be that Dwight said, with all he's done here, he wants to be involved in all the decisions they make. What they do, what the front office does, when they can actually make these decisions, which we have no idea when that's going to be.
Absolutely. That's going to be a very interesting note. Baseball, of course, the Rays are about to sweep the Marlins if they win today, which they should because the Marlins are pretty bad. Andrew, you realize on Father's Day, me and my dad, of course, big Marlins fans, we usually talk after a Marlins win. You know how many times that's happened this month in June?
Not very often.
Once. One win. Once. Yes, Brian, yes, one win. We've had the entire month. The Marlins went from being like 8-9 over 500 to last place in the NL East.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awful. But if you look at what's going on, what they've gotten out of Hanley Ramirez, which was next to nothing, it shouldn't be that much of a surprise. I don't think they're this bad, but early on they were certainly playing over their head. Josh Johnson out until at least July.
It's going to be a long summer and fall in South Florida. Heat lose. Maybe it's LeBron's fault, too, that the Marlins are in the tailspin, right?
LeBron took down the Marlins. Yeah, it's kind of rough times down there for everyone, maybe outside of the Heat. And it's rough right now because they lost the finals, but you got the Dolphins always looking up at two teams. You got Miami Hurricanes now down. The Florida Panthers are virtually irrelevant. And now you've got the Marlins back in last place. It's tough times for you guys from down there.
Yeah, you mentioned hockey since Panthers. We don't even know what that is in South Florida. Boston Bruins, congratulations, Andrew Melnick. You're a hockey Bruins fan. You won the Stanley Cup in 7 games. I know you feel excited.
Yeah, they did. Was a lot of fun to watch. An underdog in the finals, and I think people kind of got behind them, not in an anti-Canada way, but more in a cheap shot kind of way.
And of course, the Bruins celebrated yesterday with the parade. And everybody likes parades, and one thing that's become tradition now, Melnick, is when teams celebrating the parade, someone has to sing, even though they have no business singing.
Yeah,
we heard Dirk earlier.
I think we might have topped Dirk here.
And why don't you tell us about this next clip we're going to hear, since you're the Bruins fan.
As we know, the Bruins, their colors are black and yellow. There's a popular song by the same title, and now we're going to hear a bunch of Eastern Europeans and Canadians try and sing that song.
I'd like to ask my liney right here, Marshy, to come over.
You know what it is. Yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Yeah. Put it up, pussy. You know what it is. What up? Black and yellow, black and yellow. Uh-huh. You know what it is. Everything we do it big.
Yeah. Thank you, Boston.
Thank you.
Quality music there. Should we make should we try and make a law or something that guys can't sing on parades?
Maybe we should. I mean, we heard Dirk.
Yeah, let's hear Dirk one more time before we go to break in comparison. You guys can compare. But your thoughts, on the performance.
You thought that was bad, and then you get a winger from Nova Scotia trying to sing a rap song.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
All right, we're going to sing We Are the Champions! Are we ready? Let's go. How's it go? 1, 2, 3. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of the world. Thank you!
The scary thing is, I actually think he thought he did a good job, right?
Maybe he did. We're talking about some foreigners. Well, Brad Marchand only from Canada, not that foreign.
Yeah.
What would you think did a better job?
Ooh, I'm gonna go. That's a tough one, Brian. I'm gonna give you the nod on this. Which one you thought was the better one, Brian Winnegar, our producer?
Well, I'm kind of biased because I love that Black and Yellow song, but he did his best. Both of them did their best Mark Madsen impersonation, I think.
They did. I think Brad Marchand might have been worse because he had the words they were playing, and he was still off on all of them.
That's true. Dirk did a good job singing the lyrics. It's just the voice just made it pretty comical.
Dirk did ask, "How's it go?" before he started.
Yeah, exactly.
But Andrew's absolutely correct. It's a lot harder to mess up your keys and your tones with just words by Black and Yellow. So I mean, I would give it to Dirk for being the
Dirk
worst.
wins. Dirk wins. You can give us your thoughts. You can email us. You can email me at elopez@espn1080.com. Andrew, where can I email you?
Melnick at espn1080.com.
You cannot email Winiger because he's the producer, so producers don't get emailed. But you can email me, and I'll pass it along to Brian Winiger, and that's what we'll do. Wow. On that note, we're going to take a break. We're going to recover from that singing, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, Rory McIlroy has an 8-shot lead going to the final round of the U.S. Open. Why, right now, if you're Tim Fincham in the PGA Tour, you're not really happy about that. We'll tell you about that and much more. You're listening to ESPN1080.com Insider Show here on ESPN 1080, The Team.
This is why we love sports.
Racker throws. There's a long pass. It's going to be, I believe. The Giants win the pennant. 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 Bobby Thompson hits into the very back of the left field stand. The Giants win the pennant, and they're going crazy. They're going crazy. Oh!
Don't miss a moment. Orlando's ESPN 1080, The Team.
It's the Leaderboard, Mondays 6 to 8 on ESPN 1080 WHOO. This is where the pros come to talk.
Hi, this is Boo Weekly.
Hi, this is Jim Furyk.
Hi, this is Rocco Mediate.
Hi, this is Trevor Immelman.
Hi, this is Zach Johnson. Hi, this is Woody Austin.
Where the pros come to talk about their game. Live from Celebration Town Tavern.
Hi, this is Corey Pavin, the 2010 Ryder Cup captain. Listen to the Leaderboard, Monday evenings, 6 to 8 p.m., right here on ESPN.
Presented by Carl Black Chevrolet Buick GMC.
Great shot, Bob. I think you're on.
I just followed your lead.
Hey, by the way, did you break ground on your new building?
No way. I'm holding off until I see what the future holds.
So you're seeing a fortune teller?
You know what I mean. Things look a little uncertain.
The only thing certain in business is if you're not growing, you're losing. And we just opened our 5th facility last week. If you're following my lead, you'll call General Steel. Their pre-engineered steel buildings could save you as much as half the cost compared to conventional buildings, and they're up in nearly half the time, and backed with a 50-year structural warranty.
Yeah, but steel buildings...
Hey, you've seen my building. Does it look like steel?
No, it looks great.
Ask about rebates that could save you up to $20,000. Look, you can stop paying rent and own a building that suits your business better and probably saves you money by operating more efficiently. In times like these, don't stop spending, just spend wisely.
Call 800-965-1290. 800-965-1290. 800-965-1290.
Roughly 10% of Americans have restless leg syndrome or RLS. Described as creeping or crawling sensations in the legs, RLS symptoms are often relieved by movement.
Many people in my family have RLS. My mother had it, I have it, so do many of my cousins.
RLS kept me up at night. Sometimes I was so tired I couldn't play with my kids.
My lack of sleep turned me into a different person.
Each person's experience with RLS is different. It can be a serious yet treatable medical condition.
Visit whatisrls.org.
We take it to the hoop like no other.
What's known in football terms as a slam dunk.
The only place to talk Magic and UCF hoops is ESPN 1080, The Team, and ESPN1080.com.
Swing it like a boomerang, a tank come around, wanna hit the top.
Ooh la 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 la.
Shit, pop, you know what's the big whoop when I play my game and then I make my mama proud.
Smash, bang, you gotta hit the ball far, then the crowd goes, then you hear the
ooh la 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 la.
Treat. I want my birthdays all day long.
And we welcome you back, I think, to ESPN 1080, The Team Insider Show. As .com. And Andrew, can you explain to the audience who we just heard?
That's the Golf Boys. There's a recent music video, just came out this week, actually. It's Ben Crane, Bubba Watson, Ricky Fowler, Hunter Mahan. 4 very good golfers, actually. And they made a music video. You can go see it on YouTube, the Golf Boys. The song's called OOO, as you probably heard why. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. Eric's giving some looks here. I don't know if he likes that much.
I'm blown away by that. By the way, this is Eric Lopez, UCF. And Magic Insider Andrew Melnick, your Magic and NBA Insider Brian Winiger, our fine producer. Your thoughts on that music production we just heard?
It's absolutely amazing the things you can get away with being a professional athlete. I mean, it's great. I love it. I mean, and I actually, Ricky Fowler went to the high school I went to. I didn't know him that well, but no, it's good. I mean, it's something to kind of just like reemerge these new golfers that are coming into the PGA Tour, like. You know, Tiger Woods having his deal, obviously, but, I mean, it's just, any exposure at this point, I think, is good for the tour. I mean,
Shows some personality, right?
Absolutely.
And I think it's cool that they're maybe a little more laid back. And you mentioned Ricky Fowler. He's only 22, and for those of you that have seen the video, Doesn't he look like he should be in a boy band?
he takes care of himself pretty well. But I mean, it's just, the self-deprecating humor I think is great. I think LeBron James personally needs to do a little self-deprecating humor.
Your advice to LeBron there?
Yes, for what it's worth.
You agree with that, Andrew?
I wouldn't mind seeing it. I don't know if he's going to wear the overalls with no shoes and no shirt under like Bubba Watson, but I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend him doing this kind of thing, but I mean, just some self-deprecating, letting him know, like, you know, it's a game. We play a game. You know what I mean? So,
unfortunately for those young gentlemen, they're not on the top of the leaderboard in the U.S. Open. Who is, though, is Rory McIlroy. Has an 8-shot lead going into the final round today. He's at 14 under par. Wai Yang, former PGA champion, is at 6 under par. I've been teasing this. Why do I think that Rory McIlroy winning the U.S. Open is actually bad for the PGA Tour? Because obviously a lot of people have pumped it up as this is great for golf. He's the next star. What's the problem if you're the PGA Tour?
I want to hear your big problem.
Nobody knows? All right, the problem is he's a European Tour member. He does not play in the PGA Tour. Now, he can play whenever he wants in the PGA Tour, especially if he wins the U.S. Open. He gets an exception. However, he has already stated he wants to stay in the European Tour. You know the next time you'll see him play at a PGA Tour in the United States?
When will that be?
Firestone in August. Tough to build a star if you're at the PGA Tour when that guy is not in your tour very often.
Yeah, it is, because unless you're a dedicated golf fan, which we know there's probably more in this general area than almost anywhere else, being in Central Florida, kind of the mecca of golf courses. But you're right. Unless you're going to be all over the Golf Channel, things like that, you're not going to see these guys play. Now, should he keep winning, maybe that changes. Maybe he comes here, wants more money, things like that. I mean, the guy's, 22, I believe, Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, he's still young.
I think you're right here. But for this particular event, it's hard not to root for him, because it'd be such a great story with his collapse at Augusta.
That's a Masters. He's a talented player. Let's hear now from Rory in a second here about his play.
It's a major championship, and the toughest major championship of them all is the U.S. Open, and you can't let any other thoughts get in your head. You're just trying to concentrate entirely on your game and trying to get that ball around the course in as few strokes as possible.
And he's done that. The other thing people have talked about, comparing it to Tiger's win in the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach in 2000. I don't think it's a fair comparison. Tiger at Pebble Beach played a harder course. He was the only guy under par at 12 under. The second place was Ernie Els at 3 over. This one's a lot softer at Congressional at D.C. Yeah. Doesn't take away from his performance, and he still got to close it out, but it's been a tremendous performance, but not at Tiger's level.
No, and we've got a lot. You're right. There's a lot more guys under par. The cut was a lot higher this time. It's not quite that. It's impressive. It's fantastic. I mean, an 8-stroke lead going into the final day, you're doing something very, very right. But you're right. No, it shouldn't be compared to Tiger's performance there. Tougher course, just a better all-around weekend from Tiger. But, we shouldn't sleep on it. It's impressive. And if he holds on, which, man, it would have to be another epic collapse. Actually, bigger collapse than last time around. Should he hold on, it is going to be quite the story.
Will he hold on? Will he hold on this time? I agree. So. Will you agree, Brian? Do you agree he holds on?
Well, I think he has no choice. I mean, even if he shoots 2 over, 3 over, like the guys have to come up to his level. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if he just plays par golf, he's good.
So we're going to do this. Now, Brian, you're going to actually you're going to pick for Jason this week. Since Jason's not here, we do our pick segment. One of our picks this week will be who finishes second behind Rory McIlroy. That's going to be our bonus pick. I'm going to give you the guys that are behind him right now, and you tell me who you guys like. You got Wai Yang, former major champion at the PGA, 6 under par. Robert Garekas. Is that Mark Daniels' guy? He keeps talking about who's the guy Mark and Jerry like.
Andres Gonzalez.
Oh, Andres Gonzalez. Well, I don't know. I have to find where
maybe Robert.
He missed the cut.
Maybe Robert should have been their guy.
Yeah. Anyway. Robert Garekas is at 5 under. Jason Day's at 5 under. Lee Westwood 5 under. Sergio Garcia 4 under. Matt Kuchar is at 4 under. Frederick Jacobson at 4 under. Any of those guys you like, or anybody from maybe lower than that you like for second place?
For me, give me Lee Westwood. Been very good golfer for a long time. Give me him to finish second.
I'm going to take Jason Day. I mean, I think he emerged. I mean, obviously the Masters he was up there with Louis, but I think he's playing good golf. And I mean, he's a young kid, another young kid who's just hungry to win. So I'm taking Jason Day.
So I'm going to go. It's easy to go Yang. So that's not. I'm going to go Matt Kuchar. Matt Kuchar is my second pick there with McIlroy winning. Few minutes left on the show. We have a big story, UFC quick thought, and who do we go to, Andrew, when we have a UFC question?
Well, I'll tell you in a minute. I knew you were going to go Matt Kuchar from Winter Park, Florida.
Very good.
By the way, that's why I knew Eric was going to go there. When we talk MMA, we go to our MMA insider, our producer Brian.
Quick story for you, question for you, Brian. UFC's contract's up with Spike. They're negotiating right now with a lot of networks. Believe that Versus is the front runner. Mm-hmm. Is it smart for Dana White and UFC to leave Spike, considering that Spike really, gave him a lot of leeway, a lot of programming there, a lot of hours? Smart or dumb for the UFC?
Well, see, I think the reason why Spike gave them such leeway is because it's the UFC. They have so much leverage. And that Dana White talks about this all the time. The UFC, they don't need a network contract right now. They really don't. So they have the opportunity to really sit back and see, all right, what is the best contract for us in this point? And it hasn't come along. I know they talked to ESPN, NBC, CBS. I just think those major networks want to co-promote a little more than Dana White and the UFC are comfortable with, because, it's usually their way or their highway, which I agree that's the way it should be, because they know what they're doing and they don't miss. But, Spike's, their Spike contract's over at the end of the year. But, it should be interesting. I just know this for sure, that once they do get a network deal, it's going to be the best possible deal for the sport, and it's going to be great.
So you think leaving Spike's not the worst thing? It's not the end of the world? They'll be fine?
No, they'll be fine now. It's just, they have such a good product and such a good sport, and they run it so well that, I think they're just going to sit back, let everyone get accustomed to the MMA deal, and let everyone get comfortable with it, and then boom, attack. They're
your
great businessmen.
Bold prediction at the end of the year, where they end up?
End of the year, I would like to think they're going to extend their contract with Spike, I would say, because they got the reality show that's very popular, 13 seasons, but I think so. I think Spike's the way to go.
There you have it. Andrew, who do we go again when we go our MMA information?
Our MMA insider, Brian
Winterger. All right, guys, Rays and Marlins, last pick of the day. James Shields against Chris Volstad. Do the Rays sweep the Marlins, Andrew?
Yes, think Shields has another excellent game like he did against Boston the other day.
And Brian, you make the pick. Rays or Marlins?
I'm going Rays.
Rays as well, we all agree. Yeah, the Marlins are terrible. They should fire their manager by the end of the week. All right, we thank Brian Winterger, our producer and MMA insider. Andrew Melnick, our Magic and NBA insider. I'm Eric Lopez, your UCF and Magic insider. This has been ESPN1080.com Insider Show on ESPN 1080, The Team, your local sports.